This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, Bo Cook from Loan Market, BTZD, the official apparel partner of the Paracave Podcast, and the Parramatta Times, the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here. And look, this is a replay chat that I had with the Duckman on Pulse FM on Sunday night, a few nights ago now. And we talked about what was happening in Rugby League and the such things as the Jerome Luai contract situation, Tom Dearden, and also Addin Fonua-Blake. Now, as I record this audio and bring this podcast out, we have since learnt that Tom Dearden has re-signed with the North Queensland Cowboys until 2029, so a good get for them and him. He stays in the far north of Queensland. And also today, the Addin Fonua-Blake contract drama is over as well, as he has signed with the Cronulla Sharks starting in 2025 for 4 years as well. So the St George Illawarra Dragons were possibly the front runners for that one, but have missed out along with the Tigers and the Bulldogs. So now a little bit of this chat I have with the Duckman is probably a little bit not right now that these deals have been done. But anyway, this was the chat that I had with him, and I hope you enjoy it and see if I was on the right page or not, as well as the Duckman as well. So just thought I'd bring out a podcast, something that I recorded anyway with the Duckman on Sunday, so I thought I'd just bring it out anyway as a random thing as well. So stay tuned, there may be something else coming out on Saturday as well, a bit of a year in review, so stay tuned for that one. But anyway, it's over to you, Duckman.
All right, there we go. That was all I want for Christmas this year. You must be getting sick of hearing it, everybody. So seriously, been playing it since grand final day when the Panthers won their third in a row. Troy Warner's with us now. Troy, how are you going?
Going fantastic, Duckman. Look, it's been a while since we've had a chat, and look, I haven't got sick of that song yet. I've heard it in the shops and at work, and now on Pulse FM as well.
Yeah, yet again. So played, strangely enough, I never set it up either. I was just in the system 6 times. So press set auto repeat up here. You can play it again a bit. And I may have done that before I started the show just to give listeners a bit of a rundown so they knew what they were going to get. I tried to play another song and it was called something else, and this played and I went, I didn't know that, so better be careful what I'm playing at the moment because you think you're playing Christmas songs to mix up the Christmas spirit, and there you go. That's not actually happening. So I've got a question for you.
Yep.
Have you been keeping track with what's going on in the madness in the world of rugby league at the moment? There's a lot of stuff going on considering it's the off-season heading into Christmas. Normally it's a bit of a quieter time of the year right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Always have to keep my eye on the rugby league and see what's happening for sure. And I don't think any of us could have missed what's going on. Obviously, we've got the Jerome Luai contract situation. We've got the Addin Fonua-Blake contract situation from the New Zealand Warriors. As you mentioned in the before we chatted, Tommy Dearden as well is in the news as well about his contract. What else has been happening in the crazy world of rugby league? I'm just trying to think. The West Tigers, they got rid of their board last week and have now got a new interim CEO and chairman. So it's all happening.
Yeah, I actually think the West Tigers have scored huge with the fact that this has actually happened. So they've done a better job having to sack the board than if they hadn't have sacked the board, because they picked up Shane Richardson, who's probably one of the best operators all up in the world of rugby league, so in administration. So that's an extraordinary piece of business getting him at the moment there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if the the previous board would have kept on going, then I think the Tigers maybe have had another season like they did in the previous two, because they haven't got their off-field sorted. And it's what all the fans wanted. I think it's what the members wanted as well. Now they've got that, and as you said, they've got Shane Richardson in. He is a very smart operator. He's won a comp as CEO at Penrith and also at South Sydney as well. Turned them around when they went there. Obviously turned Penrith around when he went there as well within a couple of years. So he's a very smart operator. He knows his rugby league. I listened to him on the Buy Round podcast with James Graham, and he's got some really good things to say, and he knows his stuff. So he's the interim CEO at the moment. Whether he stays on in that role, I don't know, but certainly in the interim, they've got a good one there in Shane Richardson. And Barry Unsworth, the former New South Wales Premier, he's gone in as Barry O'Farrell. Jeez, what am I talking about?
Not Barry Unsworth.
Yeah, jeez.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I've got my Barrys mixed up there. Barry O'Farrell has taken over as chairman at the moment as well. He was there previously, but stepped away for a few years, I think, and then he's back there now as chairman.
Yes, they went and did some political things, stepped away from it. I like that he's gone back, but because there's still a level of independence there. So I'd say neither of them guys are tied in with the club at all. Shane Richardson's just a professional sports administrator, so he is the best piece of business they've done for a long period of time. What surprised me is he come out unequivocally the other day and said, we tried to get Jerome Luai back in 2015 when he was playing behind James Maloney at Penrith. We tried to get him at Souths, and I didn't know that. So I do remember Jerome Luai saying he was looking at leaving because he wanted an opportunity and didn't feel like that opportunity was going to be there. And I think he was told by Ivan Cleary then, who was at Penrith before he went to West, be patient, the opportunity's there. You just need to develop your game more, so and then you'll be a more rounded player before you go up. So he wanted to rush things a bit there. It looks like he's going to get his opportunity to do that now. So he's going to be the big dog here. $6 million for 5 years. What do you think about that? So because we both thought the other day that really the Bulldogs, I thought he'd probably go with the Bulldogs because they had a more serious chance of winning, even though it's probably going to have to take a little bit of a hit to go to the Bulldogs, just because they've got a bit more of a balanced squad.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one, isn't it? What is it, $1.2 million a year from 2025 at the Tigers, reportedly. Luai has come out and said no deal has been signed yet, so calm down, it's still happening. So, no, it's certainly a very interesting situation at the moment. I don't think he'll go to Canterbury now, only because Canterbury have been signing a lot of players in recent weeks, so I don't think they'll have that enough amount of money to offer Jerome Luai like the Tigers have. The Panthers, obviously, they won't have as much to offer Jerome as much as the Tigers have, so I think the Tigers is his best bet to go there if he's going to leave for money. And look, I don't blame him because he's won 3 comps in a row, played in 4 grand finals, he's played Origin, he's played Test matches. Look, he's about to set himself up for life now, and we all know that rugby league players have got a short time in the game, so they've got to look after themselves and their families as best they can. And look, he'd be mad not to take that offer. So apparently he's got there's 10 days cooling off period apparently now, so where Penrith can come back. But as I said, I don't think they'll have the money that the Tigers do. So I think you will find that come Christmas Day or Boxing Day, I think he will be a Tiger in 2025.
Yeah, I don't think Penrith will do it anyway. I just think Penrith see some big picture stuff. So with the exception maybe of with Nathan Cleary, who they've already got locked up anyway, I don't think they're going to punch a lot of money into their top end staff, right? They've got who they wanted. I think the one they wanted to keep Jerome Luai because he was going to be a good part of the squad going forward. But now that money's freed up to upgrade the opportunities for some of the lower guys now, fringe guys, and it gives other opportunities to other players. So there'll be another Jerome Luai come through. Might not be quite as good as Jerome Luai, but I'm telling you what, Penrith are not missing players in those sorts of positions. So they're going to be all right here going forward. This is not going to really rock the boat too much, but for the Tigers, this is a massive signing.
Yeah, it is, and I think someone like the Tigers, they always had to offer a star player massive amounts of dollars just to get them there. Look, Penrith, they got James Fisher-Harris, who just a couple of weeks ago won the Golden Boot Award in Rugby League, and that's the best player in the world, so congratulations to him. And, obviously that sort of stature in the game deserves more money as well, so potentially his next contract might be worth a lot more as well than what he is getting at the moment, so there's some money there. But look, the Tigers, they had to get somebody of Jerome's experience and premiership winner and just get him over there to work with Benji Marshall, who's obviously won a comp at the Tigers as well, and he's in his first year next year. But, someone that he can work with. And look, he's still going to be living local as well in Penrith, so it's not that far for him to travel to training and to obviously games as well.
Yeah, it's only like 40 minutes or something, not even. So, depending when he does it, go down from Glenmore Park down to Campbelltown. It's pretty cruisy run. So the question happens with the Tigers now. So they've got Jaden Sullivan, who they signed this year, is going to move to halfback in 2025, and they've got Aiden Caesar there now, who's the halfback at this point in time. So what happens with these guys? Because obviously Jerome Luai is going to be 5'8". Like, surely you got to play him where you're playing him at Penrith, because that's where you're getting the best bang for your buck with the guy.
Yeah, definitely. He'll have to go 5'8" when he arrives there. But Jaden Sullivan's only a young player, so he'll get the experience from Jerome as well. And look, it's Aiden Caesar has come back from England and signed I think a 1-year deal. I think there could be an option either in his favour or the club's favour, so he may be around for 2025 as well, but he would sort of probably be a backup sort of guy as well for the halves. So it'd be interesting to see how those players go this year, knowing that Jerome is coming next year, 2025 I should say, and he will definitely get that number 6 spot.
Oh, 100% he will. So the Jerome Luai thing, what it did, it threw lots of balls in the air for the Tigers. So does this make Scott Fulton's job easier as a recruitment guy, number one? Number two, do you reckon they're going to be able to get Justin Olam now when they were trying to do that buy swap deal with Olam and Sean Bloor? Like, Sean Bloor, as far as I know, he's still going to Melbourne. So Justin Olam, is he coming to the Tigers still, or is he going to go to the UK now? Like, there's a couple of balls that are up in the air out of this one.
Yeah, well, that I guess depends on Justin and what he wants to do, whether he wants to stay in Australia or go to England. I think a player like Jerome Luai going to the Tigers in 2025 will attract other players as well, and that want to play with a premiership winner and obviously be in the same team. So if they can attract Justin Olam to the club as well, as you said, Sean Bloor looks like he's going to go to Melbourne. Nothing confirmed yet, but it looks like he will. Then I guess that would be a good purchase for the Tigers as well, to slowly build up their squad, because they have a few sort of decent players at the club. Obviously they've got Api Coruscant there. Look, David Clemmer, he's a representative player. He's coming, I guess, towards the end of his career. Isaiah Papali'i as well. He's in the last year of his deal next year, so whether he stays there or not. But John Bateman as well, an English international as well. So you've got some good talent in that squad. They just can't manage to get it together. And look, Jerome will definitely attract some players to that club as well.
Yeah, 100%. So I've said that Isaiah Papali'i, obviously they want to hold on to him. So that would be one of my key focuses going forward if I was the Tigers at the moment. So John Bateman, I'd say that hasn't worked when he's come back to Australia this time. Did when he went to Canberra the first time. Probably hasn't been quite as successful this time. No particular fault of his own. The Tigers didn't have the firepower. I'm not sure if he'll get another crack at it or not. We'll guess we'll wait and see what happens. So if he does or doesn't go down that avenue. So that out of this, everyone was waiting to see what Jerome Luai did because he's just such a high-scale player, like a Tier 1 player. Tom Dearden now, we're just chatting about him before. Funnily enough, the Roosters have come out and said they're very interested. Christian Nicolosi published a story that said the Roosters are definitely interested in that because Luke Keary's 31 now. So St George Illawarra have come out straight outright as well and gone on Tom Dearden. We want him, and surely the Cowboys are going to try to keep him too. So he's on the verge of being a $1 million player for sure, obviously now.
Well, for the struggling clubs, probably is a $1 million player, but in my personal opinion, I don't think he is a $1 million player. He may be about
probably not. Yeah, so probably 850 maybe.
Yeah, look, 800,000 is right up there, I think, for a player like Tom. Look, great player, has represented Queensland in State of Origin, and we all saw his season in 2022 with the Cowboys, and how good a run they went last year. But definitely these struggling clubs will probably pay a little bit overs just to get those players there. So we'll have probably the usual suspects again: the Tigers, the Dragons, the Bulldogs, in for the hunt for him if he wants to, and unless he wants to stay in North Queensland at the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's right. So if he went to the Roosters, he'd have a serious crack at. So I don't think the Roosters are going to have to offer him massive money. They're going to be able to offer him very consistent premiership contention side. So different opportunity, move to Sydney, a different opportunity as well. So he might find out it's expensive living down in Sydney. So
yeah, it all depends on the player too, because I mean, most ex-players that I talk to anyway, they say that they played rugby league to win premierships, so that they weren't too concerned about the money. Obviously, back in their day, the money wasn't around as it is now, but it all depends on your situation. As I said, Jerome Luai has played in 4 grand finals, won 3, so as obviously he's in a position where he can set himself up.
Completely
Someone
different.
like Tommy Dearden, as you said, if he goes to the Roosters are a team that are in the competition to win premierships. That's all they want to do. So it's a good opportunity for him to have a crack there and potentially win a grand final. So it all depends on the player as well and their situation.
Yeah, and another big one that's come up too over the last couple of days, seen this one come in under the radar a little bit, is Zach Hosking. So he is a fringe player at Penrith, so he's a good player too, but if he stays at Penrith, he's probably going to stay a fringe player at the moment, and the Raiders are after him. He's got a very big shot there. They're keen on him. I think he'd be a good fit to replace Corey Harawira-Naera, who's supposedly injured and might be looking at getting stood down longer term from medical professionals. So Zach Hosking would be a good pickup for the Raiders if they could get hold of him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he is a good player. He's, as you said, a fringe player, so won't be expensive, but looking to build on his career that he's already had as well. So yeah, that would be a good purchase for Canberra. As you said, Corey is still trying to get that medical clearance as well from the doctors about his little medical issue that he had on the field during this year, so we wish him all the best in his recovery, but he's still waiting for his clearance, and yeah, it would be more than a handy replacement at Canberra if he isn't able to come and play. So Zach Hosking played 21 games for the Panthers this year, so a pretty versatile player, and you've got it's like a competition for spots at Penrith at the moment. So with Spencer Linu leaving as well, that opens up a spot, and then you've got someone like Big MG's son Mav trying to get a start in first grade as well. So he's in the top 30 squad. So there's a lot of competition for spots. And look, if this is going to give Zach a consistent starting spot, which is probably what he is after, then yeah, he'd be mad not to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have a look at we'll have a look. Who do you think the big signing at the moment, so at this stage for next year? So we're going to chat about this next week. We'll do a year review of rugby league and look at some of the major things. But at this stage, who do you think looks like the biggest signing for any club for next season?
Oh, look, that's a tough one, but I mean, I guess you'd probably have to say probably Stephen Crichton, I'd say, for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have signed a lot of players, but he's obviously got that premiership winning experience. He's obviously played under Cameron Ciraldo before as well, so he's got that experience there. But I just think, yeah, probably Stephen Crichton is probably a big one. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Herbie Farnworth for the Dolphins as well. He could be a crucial buy as well for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Jack Cogger's a good pickup for the Knights. I think he could really help take them to another level, along with Ponga and also Jackson Hastings. He's been there before, right? But playing in the grand final squad with Penrith just really brought out a different side of his play, where he knows he can beat a leader and stand up in a strong team and lead it around. So that did him the world of good this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. For sure it did. That anyone who plays at Penrith and gets that experience in that squad definitely blossoms and can play better football as well. I mean, we saw that with Sean O'Sullivan at the Dolphins before his injury. He was playing some really good footy, and the Dolphins were winning games in a row. And we saw it this year with, as you said, Jack Cogger as well. When Jerome Luai was out, Jack stood in. When Nathan Cleary was out, Jack stood in. And the Panthers, they never seemed to miss a beat. So that's a great signing for the Newcastle Knights, and it will strengthen their halves in 2024. I think they've probably struggled a little bit in the halves of late. Obviously, they've got Jackson Hastings there, who unfortunately was injured a little bit this year. But Tyson Gamble, great player, but I think he may be a bit of a bench player potentially. Obviously did a great job this year with Newcastle getting them into the finals, and I think it was about a 11 or 12 game winning streak as well, so played some good footy there. But I think someone of Jack Cogger's experience that he has had at Penrith will just be very good for Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other two big pickups, I think, across the competition is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and, strangely enough, Kurt Capel. So I completely didn't see that one coming at all. Both of them going to the Warriors. So Kurt Capel in the last couple of weeks has a massive pickup, really, because he's going to bring a lot of experience into that team. And losing Addin Fonua-Blake, it's going to be a big pickup now, getting Kurt Capel in the books.
Yeah, definitely. He won a premiership at Penrith, played in the grand final this year with the Broncos. That one sort of came out of left field. It was sort of mentioned one day, and then it was shut down, and then in the next couple of days it was official. So that'll bring a bit of experience again to the Warriors, who had a great year this year, obviously. But yeah, very keen to see how Roger Tuivasa-Sheck goes on his comeback from rugby. So be very interesting to see how he goes this year. I think he'll be probably playing centre for the Warriors. I think you'll have Chance Nickel-Clockstar at fullback still. I mean, why change a sort of winning combination when a new player comes in? So they may switch around sometimes on the field anyway as well. So, but that's where I think I see him playing in the centres. So it'd be good to see him back, and it was refreshing to see him the other day talk on social media about how he had a chat to the captain and the coach, and he thought that they were really working towards something and that he would sign with them instead of going to Japanese rugby. So, yeah, big pickup for the Warriors, which is only going to strengthen them even more, even though he's been out of the game for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's right. It says a lot about Andrew Webster, so he's held in very, very high esteem. So they are very good pickups, both of them kind of unexpected, because Roger Tuivasa-Sheck was probably going to come back to the league, or he could have gone to Japanese rugby and made like 800,000 or 900,000 or something like that for 14 weeks. So, and you don't get busted too hard in rugby. You can, even at professional level, he could have survived in that and played for another couple of years pretty easy. So, it's a great piece of business by the Warriors for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's Dally-M player. It was Dally-M Player of the Year a couple of seasons ago whilst playing at the Warriors. So we all know he can play the game. I don't think a couple of years out of the game will do him any harm. He'll pick it up pretty quickly. And as I said, it's only going to strengthen the Warriors for next year. And it was good to see him come back to rugby league. And as you said, it does hold Andrew Webster very highly, who in the last few weeks has signed another 5-year contract, I think, with the Warriors. So it does look like they are building towards something.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Thanks for your time there, Troy. So what do you got coming up? You got any highlights, reels you're going to do for the year as a wrap or anything for the podcast or Paracave podcast for anyone that's out there, or what's coming up this week?
Yeah, look, I don't really know if I will. I've had a little bit of time off from the podcast over the last few weeks, mainly due to work getting a bit busy, but and the season ending. So I've basically just been, over the last few weeks, just been watching a bit of Fox League. They're putting on some classic games and
watching Neil Baker and Bronco Jura highlight.
Yeah, I've watched a few of those. Unfortunately for Neil, they're probably that wasn't so much a highlight, letting the ball go and
against the Tigers. That's not good.
And Ross Conlon scoring in the corner in that great game. I think it was 1988 against Penrith at Leichhardt Oval. But just watching that and just watching some of the former podcast guests in action and just bringing out a few reels of those players in action. And I'll send them messages on social media, and they love seeing their old highlights come back up and have a look. But to be honest, I don't know. There might be something coming up. I will probably try and look to do a few interviews in January and then kick off again in February.
Yep. So I've got some good news for you. I've actually located Neil Baker. And I've located Bronco Jura. So I've put out a feeler to Neil Baker. And waiting to hear back. Bronco Jura are going to do a face-to-face to make that one happen. So I know where they both are. So we'll get on the case. I want to have a chat to these guys because they were good fullbacks back in the day. Neil Baker, 61. So I'll throw it out there. Do you reckon he's still playing?
Well, seeing as though you asked, by the sounds of it, I think he is.
Yeah, he is still playing. He played in the grand final last year with his son for Addin. So whatever it is, and they won the comp again down the south coast. So I found him by default. I wasn't sure and checked it out and had to do a bit of homework, and it definitely got him. So put out the feelers there to Neil. We'll see if he replies back. I'm hoping he will. I might lean on a couple of people to see if I can get him to have a chat. I'm pretty sure he will have a chat too about stuff he did in the past, but he's pretty happy with his achievements he's doing down the south coast at the moment as well. has done a lot down there over the last 17 or 18 years while he's been down there.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing that he's still playing at 60 years of age. I mean, is Cliff Lyons still playing?
61 years old or 62 years old, Neil Baker, yeah. So, wow.
The other thing we just didn't mention as well is that Michael Maguire was officially announced as the State of Origin coach, New South Wales State of Origin coach for next year.
Yeah, that's right. It took about 3.5 months after he said he wanted it. So
yeah, very interesting one, that one. And he signed on, I think, for 3 years as well. And I think New South Wales were offering Freddie Fittler 1 year, I think. So interesting there. So hopefully a change of coach might bring New South Wales a bit more of fortune in the State of Origin arena.
Yeah, that's right. So, and he was a good coach, right? Michael Maguire did a good job. So he won stuff with Souths. He made West pretty good, but just couldn't. I don't think he had the support that he needed when he was at West Tigers. So maybe we'll see all these things get turned around now. Shane Richardson, he's not going to take a lot of crap off people. I can say that with absolute certainty. He really drove a straight and hard bus when he was at Cronulla, Penrith and South. So I can't see him doing anything different now.
Nah, that's it. I think they're in good hands at the moment, and the only way is up for the West Tigers.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Troy, thanks for your time. I'll let you go. So for all our listeners here to listen now, we're going to have a year in review, everything. We'll look at all our highlights and pick out things that are good. So good signings for the year for this season, good signings for the year for next season, and have a look at some of our top 3 highlights, I reckon, of different things we thought were good. Unexpected things that come up this year as well. So, and we'll have that on air on Friday night.
Sounds good, Duckman. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a couple of weeks now, and I'll look forward to next week, going over the year 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that 100%. So we're going to play another Christmas song here in a second, and it's not a Mariah Carey one, strangely enough. So right. Thanks for your time, Troy. I'll let you go and chat to you through the week.
No worries. Thanks, Duckman.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.